If you love me, please don't judge me. Got my hands tied, the power's above me. Don't shoot the messenger, I'm just a puppet here. If you wanna place blame, then look to the puppeteer. Family, fortune, envy, jealousy, privilege, passed on, legacy, secret, sabotage, borderline, felony, suicide, subtract, selfish, pedigree, yeah.
So, Talladega happened this week, but yeah, well, this Talladega race, it was a little tamer than the previous races, but that was pretty crazy, that last lap. Like, it was crazy, like, you weren't sure who was going to win that race until the very end. But yeah, still, at least Kyle Larson finally had some good luck on a super speedway for once, finally. In fact, Larson finally getting his first top 5 finish on a super speedway. Only took him 31 super speedway races for it to finally happen. But hey, better late than never. But yeah, anyway, before we talk about what else, all the racing that happened this weekend, before the Cup race at Talladega, let's talk about the other racing that happened this weekend, because there was quite a bit, though. So, the ARCA race happened, and well, the ARCA race was a fucking shit show, just like every other ARCA race. Like, you had a number of big crashes. Like, I believe one of the crashes was caused off Tony Bredreiner taking her foot off the gas in the middle of the turn for no fucking good reason. It's like, Tony, what the fuck are you doing? Why are you taking your foot off the gas at Dega in the middle of the turn for no reason? This is not a 1.5-mile track or a short track. It's a super speedway at Dega. You're supposed to be full throttle nearly the entire fucking time. It's like she literally did that same fucking thing at Daytona back in February. And she did it again at Dega. She's learned nothing. And yet in that Daytona race, she somehow ended up with a top 10 despite that. But in this race, not this time. But yeah, also, real quick though, prayers to Scott Melton because he suffered a hard crash at Dega, and he had to be carried out. He had to be cut out of the car and loaded onto a stretcher, and he's at the hospital because he suffered a leg fracture. So yeah, that sucks to see that. But yeah, to Scott Melton and his entire team, speedy recovery to Scott Melton. Hopefully he recovers and comes back to the track real soon. But yeah, in the end, this race would end up being cut short early because it was under a TV time limit. So Nick Sanchez ended up getting the win over Brett Holmes and Corey Heim. So yeah, Nick Sanchez gets his second career win. So yeah, congrats to Nick Sanchez there. But yeah, that's kind of disappointing that they cut the race early for all that. So yeah. But to be perfectly honest, I don't know why the fuck you have a TV limit on for Talladega. You know, a track that's famous for having big crashes and normally 9 times out of 10 going over it's a lot of TV time. You know, maybe putting 2 races on the same day at a track with no fucking lights that has a history of having massive crashes and going over it's a lot of TV time was a bad idea. Maybe they should have ARCA on Friday and have only Xfinity on Saturday and all the Cup practice and shit on certain days too. Maybe not. Maybe don't have ARCA run the same day as Xfinity. Maybe that's a good solution there. Anyway, now to the Xfinity race at Talladega. Xfinity race at Dega, well, this race, it was a pretty tame race until late in the race, where the crashes really started piling up, like Sheldon Creed had a really hard hit. Like, this race was such a clusterfuck at the end of the shit show that it went to 3 OT. And in the third overtime, Noah Gragson would get the lead late. And then, despite the best efforts from Jeffrey Earnhardt, it still was not enough for Jeffrey to get there. Because Jeffrey, he would use lessons from his grandfather to get all the way up to second, but just could not get by Noah Gragson. And Noah would hold off the 3 of Jeffrey Earnhardt, and Gragson gets his second win of the season, and he finally wins at Talladega. So Gragson finally wins at Dega. And oh yeah, Gragson winning at Dega. Plus Gragson being a post-win celebration machine. and Dega having the Boulevard party Saturday night. Yeah, Gragson definitely got fucked up Saturday night. Got drunk after that race, that's for sure. You know, he did get some bead necklaces. You know, he definitely saw some titties out there. He probably went in the infield and saw some butthole for Dale, too. But yeah, still, even though Noah Gragson won, shout out to Jeffrey Earnhardt for that second place run in that 3 car. You know, that was pretty cool to see Jeffrey Earnhardt in that car and have Larry McReynolds as the crew chief for that car. So yeah, that was pretty cool for Jeffrey Earnhardt. You know, too bad he couldn't win. I actually wanted Jeffrey Earnhardt to win that race. Like, even though I like Gragson, I wanted Earnhardt to win that race in that 3 car. I even put a $5 bet on the line, and that he would have got me $200 if he won the race. So, damn. Almost got it. Just 1 spot short. But yeah, hopefully we get to see Jeffrey Earnhardt in this car in the future. You know, maybe this run could be the opening that Jeffrey Earnhardt needs to get a full-time ride in the 3 at RCR. I mean, if there's any driver that should have the 3 at RCR in Xfinity, 100% give it to Jeffrey Earnhardt. I think Jeffrey deserves a chance in a full season on a top team. And I feel like RCR in that 3 car could be the team. Could Jeffrey Earnhardt show that he can get the job done if he got the right team and the right opportunity and the right people around him? So yeah, maybe there is hope for Jeffrey Earnhardt after all, the 3rd generation in the Earnhardt family. But yeah, Jeffrey definitely did Dale Sr. proud today and Dale Jr. He did that Earnhardt name proud today at Talladega in Xfinity. And before we continue on, I showed the community post because, oh boy, we have a Kamikaze Games incident. Because as you saw with this Twitter post, Kamikaze Games saltiness has reached a new low. Like, Kamikaze is definitely trying to move the goalposts. He is definitely reaching for straws here. Like, Kamikaze's so salty about Gragson winning that he's just trying to falsely accuse Noah Gragson for being a sex offender without any proof or evidence to back his claim up. And you wanna know what the goddamn irony in all this is? Kamikaze Games is accusing Noah Gragson of being a sex offender, while Kamikaze continuously simps for a known pedophile in Corbin Forrester. And Kamikaze even defends Corbin Forrester and says that Corbin did nothing wrong, and that the allegations on him are false. It's like, Kamikaze, those allegations were truly real. He was messaging a 15-year-old girl. Like, let me be real. Kamikaze Games definitely has a fucking screw loose or something. Because there's only 3 types of people that defend pedophiles. Because let's be real, the only people that defend pedophiles are either A, little kids that don't know any better, B, closet pedophiles themselves that haven't had their skeletons exposed to the entire world, or C, people that are mentally fucked in the head, which can relate to option B. And last I checked, Kamikaze Games isn't a little kid because he's older than me. Because I'm 24 and I heard he just turned 25, 26 or some shit. So that kind of narrows it down. But yeah, it's kind of ironic about that. And yet Kamikaze constantly simps for a pedophile. But yeah. Still, pretty ironic that Kamikaze wants to do that. By the way, I did lay the challenge out to Kamikaze Games. I want Kamikaze Games to show this so-called proof that he has of Noah Gragson being a sex offender. Like, I hope, like, Kamikaze, go on, make a 10-20 minute video explaining yourself. You know, gotta get them clicks, man. You know, kind of like that 18-minute video did on me back in 2018 when I called you out 4 years ago. Time for round 2. By the way, Kamikaze Games did say his source, though. Kamikaze claims his source is, just ask anybody in the garage area and they would tell you. Kamikaze. Before we begin, let me get a drink here. Let's just get one thing straight here. Kamikaze, we didn't ask people in the garage area for evidence of Noah Gragson being a sex offender. We asked you for evidence. Not them. You. And you alone. We want you to show your proof. Your evidence. You're the one that wants to make the claims? Back your evidence up. Check your facts. Bring your fucking receipt out and show it, you know? You know, it's kind of ironic, you know, a couple years ago, what was it? Kamikaze Games in a stupid comments video. He called out how many people for not bringing any proof or evidence to back their claims up or any links or anything like that. You know, Kamikaze brought that, you know, Kamikaze called that many people out in a stupid comments video a few years for it. Pretty funny how the tables have turned now. Because it's because Kamikaze's been getting called out by everybody for evidence on Noah Gragson being a sex offender. And yeah, Kamikaze, I'm waiting for that evidence. I want to see this proof that you so-called have of Gragson being a sex offender. I'm waiting on that. So yeah. But yeah, Kamikaze, remember a few years ago when you called out people for not bringing any proof or sources or evidence to back up their claims? Funny how life comes at you fast, doesn't it? Pretty funny. So yeah, crazy how the tables have turned within a few years. But yeah, it's like, yeah, I still rock with Kamikaze, but Kamikaze continues to have bad take after bad take. Like, what happened to Kamikaze? Like, where did he go wrong with his takes? Like, his takes are just so terrible and bad, man. Like, what went wrong with him? You know, because the number of bad takes he had, this ain't it, Chief. But anyway, enough of that talk. Let's just go on and talk about the ARCA West race at Bakersfield in Kern County. Well, the ARCA West race would start off with Paul Pedroncelli Jr. was leading early, and then Jake Drew would get the lead late. But the second half of the race, it was between Jake Drew and Landon Lewis. But Landon Lewis, he would get by Jake Drew late in the race, and then Landon would hold off Jake Drew in the closing laps. And Landon Lewis gets his first ARCA West win. So Landon Lewis is now a winner on the ARCA West side of the ARCA West series. So yeah, after Landon Lewis got that surprise win last year in ARCA, he now gets another ARCA win in a different ARCA series, this time in ARCA West. So yeah, congrats to Landon Lewis on that win. I know ARCA West is off for a bit until June at Portland, with the races in Portland. And I know next week ARCA East is back in action at Dover. So yeah, ARCA East is back. I believe the Modifieds are back next week as well. So yes, we got some racing back next week. But yeah. So yeah, that was crazy there. But yeah, the Cup race now. The Cup race, well, this Cup race, it was pretty tamed. It was a pretty tame Talladega race compared to the last couple of years. Like, you had mainly the single file freight train. You also had some 2-wide, 2-line training. Like, throughout much of this race, there wasn't really a dominant car. It was really comers, a lot of comers and goers. Like, you had Bubba Wallace win another stage, though, and piss all the boomers off once again. And this is now Bubba's third stage win in his career. So now Bubba's won 3 stages for Dale. Yeah, he's completed the 3 stages of Dale now. And then Byron won stage 2. Like, stage 2, we had pretty much the HMS 1, 2, 3, 4. That was a fun time while it lasted. And then Pit Strategy put all the HMS cars back. But yeah. And then stage 3, it was really comers and goers. Like, Bubba Wallace was up there, and then Denny Hamlin got up there, and then Kyle Larson was leading there late. Until a number car, until you had the outside make a big run to try and get up there. Well, you know, with Chase Elliott and Ryan Blaney trying to make some work up there, and then Byron went up there with Erik Jones, and then Larson stayed on the bottom with Chastain and Haley. And then Erik Jones would get the lead late until we got to the last lap coming off turn 4, when Chastain would give an aggressive push to Kyle Larson, and then Larson would take that momentum to go to the high side on Erik Jones entering the tri-oval. And then he was already getting hooked by Kurt Busch, who was trying to make a move, and then Larson just held his ground. And Kurt Busch got sent to the wall and took Bubba Wallace with him. And then when Erik Jones tried to go high to block Larson, that opened the door wide open for Ross Chastain to come through. And Ross Chastain leads only the last lap, but it's the lap that matters. And Ross Chastain gets his second win of the season. Yeah, the Melon Man does it again. Chastain wins again, getting the win at Talladega for Trackhouse Racing. So Pitbull Mr. 305 does it again with Ross Chastain. So yeah, Chastain has proven that he is definitely going to be a championship contender this year. So yeah, Chastain, he wins by doing literally nothing and having everything go his way. Sometimes doing absolutely nothing is the best way to go in a race. You know, sometimes the best moves is just doing nothing and hope everything lines up in your favor. Kind of like last week with Kyle Busch at Bristol, where he did nothing and everything lined up in his favor to win. And this week, it happened again with Chastain. And Chastain smashing another watermelon. And even sharing a piece of that watermelon with a young fan. So yeah, that's good to see. But yeah, tough break for Erik Jones. It looked like Jones was going to finally get that win for Petty GMS. But just, you know, that's just super speedway racing at the end there. And Jones gets shuffled out. Don't worry, Erik Jones. Someday you'll get that win for Petty GMS. Someday. But yeah, and Kyle Larson finally gets a top 5. So yeah, Larson was 0 for 30 in top 5s on super speedway races. He's now 1 for 31. Took 31 races, but he finally did it. Finally got a top 5 on a super speedway. So yeah, good to see Kyle Larson finally have some good luck on a super speedway for once, considering that Larson's luck on super speedways is fucking awful. But yeah. So yeah, that's some good momentum. I'll gladly take a 4th place finish for Larson. Considering how bad of luck he has on super speedways, that's pretty good. And especially with how much of a crapshoot Dega is. But yeah, still, you know, pretty tame Talladega race. Like, there was only 2 major crashes, and that was it. Like, you had a crash at the end, to end stage 1 when Hamrick blew his engine and took out Briscoe and Butcher, and then second stage on a restart when Truex brake checked his entire line, and that one got him into the wall, and he wrecked almost a good chunk of the field. But yeah, that's just crazy, man. Just a pretty tame race. But yeah, the good news for Larson is, though, there's a good chance Larson's probably getting a second win of the season in the next couple weeks. Since the next 3 weeks are tracks that he's run well at. Especially Dover being his favorite track. And then we have Darlington the week after for the throwback race, and then Kansas right after that. So yeah. So yeah, this top 5 for Larson is some great momentum to have entering the next 3 weeks, right, entering the All-Star race. Because keep in mind, it was around this time last year when Kyle Larson really solidified himself as a championship contender last year. So yeah, Larson got that big top 5 finish. That's a big momentum at Talladega, because again, at its worst type of track in super speedways. That's a big momentum booster for Larson and that 5 team. I say if there's a time for Larson to really show themselves as a championship contender, these next 3 weeks will be crucial to prove that. If they can truly go back-to-back this year. But yeah, anyway, and we all know how great HMS was at Dover last year with that 1-2-3-4 sweep. Can HMS run it back again at Dover next week? Tune in next week to find out. But yeah, anyway, that'll wrap it up here. So yeah, anyway, yeah, sorry about all the coughing and stuff and drinking water. I'm still trying to recover from my cold. But I'm almost recovered. But yeah, anyway, that'll wrap it up here. And that's all I gotta say, and I'll see you all whatever I make next. On to Dover next week. Peace.